So I just came back from the event. Initially, I was gonna go and record my reaction over there. I did not realize how dark the theater was actually going to be. I opted, you know what? Why don't I just go and do a bit of a recap instead of just doing a live reaction? It's a shame, but that's just how it is sometimes, you know? If you just want to know about how I feel about the Xbox event, the only thing you gotta know is that, biases aside, for once, Xbox fans finally got a dub. This is likely one of the best showcases they've ever put out in a long time. The games themselves, the ones that they have presented at the show, are games that I feel like I could find myself playing. Even the ones that I don't have that much an affinity towards, which I will go over in detail later on, I do think that I would want to give them a shot in some way. I don't know if they're going to be my favorite, but their trailers have convinced me otherwise. I won't go over every single game featured at the Xbox showcase, but I will highlight what I find interesting at the show. So I figured, why don't I just start off with the actual opener, which is, but not just any Doom game, it is a medieval Doom game. When I saw this trailer, I got vibes of Army of Darkness. I'm quite liking the visuals. I do love that gameplay that I'm oh so familiar with, thanks to games like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Like, you could feel the scale of the game itself. While the mobility appears to be toned down from Eternal, Doom the Dark Ages looks to be just as chaotic in gameplay, much like the last two games. The weapons have that medieval feel while being familiar. The mobility seems tighter and makes strafing from projectiles more important. And towards the end, the game has the Doomslayer piloting a giant mech and riding a flaming dragon. It's awesome. There's variety in gameplay that isn't seen all that much in Doom up to this point. So I do want to try that out for myself. Once it does come out next year. I'm pretty hype. We got ourselves a trailer for State of Decay 3. At first, I thought it was just going to be another cinematic trailer, but apparently it's a mix of cinematic trailer and in-game footage. It's nice to see that there is a trailer, the fact that it's even alive and well. Now, after reacting to the trailer, I've done a bit of research on the development of State of Decay 3 so far, and I found out that the devs seeked out some help from other Xbox Game Studio devs like Obsidian Entertainment and the Coalition. The former is lending their expertise of a shared game world from Obsidian's last game, Grounded, and into State of Decay 3, while the latter is supporting Undead Labs working on Unreal Engine 5, the game engine State of Decay 3 is running on. And this is something I haven't realized up until this point. With all the acquisitions Microsoft made, that's far more important than IP and monetary value. These game devs can share their technology and expertise amongst each other. That's a topic for another day. The point I'm making for State of Decay 3 is that this game has potential to be better than the last game. Now, unfortunately, we don't really have a date with State of Decay 3, but it's my hope that we do get this game maybe sometime next year. Expedition 33 is a game that impresses just with the visuals alone. The fact that the game looks as detailed as it does. And personally speaking, when you're looking at this at a big IMAX screen, it's insane. When you're watching the trailer on your phone or on your computer, it does not do the visuals justice. I'm just gonna say it straight up. You need to see this with your eyes unclouded by hate. Or if you're lucky like myself, you just watch the trailer in that format. However, that is not the only thing that's crazy about the game, because the game is turn-based with some QuickTime elements. And it is certainly a game idea that I don't really see all that often. I am quite interested in playing Expedition 33, so I do want to see more of this. I do want to see a lot of this game. I don't think this might end up being popular, but I do believe that this would hit a certain particular audience with just selling it on its visuals and on its gameplay. People will very likely appreciate what Expedition 33 will offer to players. South of Midnight is, I do believe it's a game that we've only seen a cinematic trailer of. Now we got ourselves a gameplay trailer. At first, I thought it was going to be some kind of 2D side scroller, but lo and behold, it's actually a third-person action combat game. Combat-wise, I'm not exactly too sold on South of Midnight. What does sell me with South of Midnight is the visual itself and art style, and even the atmosphere kind of sells me on this game. I don't think it's a game that I would particularly play, but it is nice to see that games like these are being made under the Xbox umbrella. Then, in a bit of a surprise, we did end up getting a gameplay trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta. Now, this is something that I didn't expect to see, but it is a welcome surprise. As someone who has played through Metal Gear Solid 3, and as someone who is a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, yeah, you know what? Slowly but surely, I am falling in love with this game. With that said, I'm adamant towards giving any form of praise with Metal Gear Solid Delta. Not until I actually get the game on my hands and actually play for it myself. I don't know if I trust Konami enough to make a competent Metal Gear Solid game, Metal Gear game in general. But who knows? I'll remain cautiously optimistic up until the release, until I actually get to play the game myself. So until then, I'll reserve judgment. And then we finally got a gameplay trailer for Perfect Dark, a game that was announced back in 2020. Back then, we only got a cinematic trailer of Perfect Dark. And at the time, I was a little hype. And today, after watching the gameplay trailer, I'm loving what I'm seeing here. Watching this trailer for Perfect Dark, I see the vision. The beauty of seeing trailers like this is replaying them to pay attention to the minute details. Everything at display reminds me of the jump from the 5th generation of consoles to the 6th. In Perfect Dark, the developer seems to be adding design choices that I don't see all that often in games, such as breakable objects that turn into multiple objects, animations that mimic the fighting styles of Black Widow and John Wick, and an emphasis on using gadgets like in Deus Ex. Regardless of whether or not Perfect Dark will be a good game, there's no denying that the teams at the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics are talented and should be commended for their work so far. I'm hyped up, and I hope to see more sometime in the future. Is it weird for me to say that I feel nostalgic for a game like this? It's very strange because I'm certainly not the target demographic for this kind of era, what mixtape is showing, and yet for some reason I feel very nostalgic. Now, with that said, I'm old, but not that old. I'm certainly not the target demographic for mixtape, but I'm really loving the vibe. I'm really loving the themes that surround this game. I'm definitely curious about what this game is all about. Like, if there's this overarching narrative that's akin to Back to the Future, Goonies, Breakfast Club, anything like that. I like those movies, so I kind of get where this game's coming from. And then we got ourselves Mecha Break. So, admittedly, this is the first time I'm seeing a game like this. And I don't know if it had any other trailer prior to this, but after seeing the crazy-ass gameplay of Mecha Break, I'm sold. Just dodging, weaving, shooting, and just full-on mech-on-mech battle. Now, if this game had... Now, I don't really know for sure if it does have it, because, well, this is the first time I ever actually seen this game, let alone heard of it. But if this game does have multiplayer, if this game actually has a multiplayer component, a PvP multiplayer component, boy, this might end up being a fun-ass game. Frustrating, but fun as hell. And finally, in terms of the Xbox Game Studios showcase, we ended with a banger. We ended with a friggin' banger in the form of Gears of War E-Day. After watching the trailer, I was a little miffed that the game was just cinematic and that's it. When the trailer did drop afterward, I did check out some information on what would this game entail. And according to what I've read up, this game will take place sometime during E-Day, basically the most pivotal moment in Gears of War history. Basically what E-Day is, for the uninitiated, is is basically a time in the game's history when the Locust Army rose from the ground and just eviscerated the entire planet of Seraph. And this is a pivotal moment because it's basically the foundation of what the original series is built on. Much like most games so far, I went ahead and did some research, and as shocking and unbelievable as it sounds, the trailer is running in real time, meaning that the visuals of Gears of War E-Day will look like this. But not too unbelievable when considering who's developing the title. The Coalition is currently known for handling the Gears of War franchise alongside other games and projects. Being a support studio for State of Decay 3 is one such collaboration, but they were also commissioned to create 2 tech demos in the form of The Matrix Awakens and The Cavern, both of which showcase the possibilities of Unreal Engine 5. Not only that, Gears of War is a series that's known to take assets from their games and represent what their games would look like running in real time. To put it simply, the Coalition created the Gears E-Day trailer with the same methods Epic Games did when making the debut trailer for Gears 1. My hope after seeing this trailer is that the devs will return to its horror roots from the original trilogy, and after watching the trailer, paying attention to the musical cues, and watching the final shot, this gives me the hope I was looking for. The best conclusion I can come up with for Gears of War E-Day is it's the prequel I didn't think I would ever want. But here we are. And that was just the Xbox Games Showcase. After the fact, after everything's said and done in terms of the showcase, I was impressed at the fact that there's a whole bunch of games that I am actively interested in. That's in comparison to years prior, where there might be like maybe 3 or 4 games that I'm actually invested in, that I'm actually interested in playing, but nothing else beyond that. And maybe and even those 3 or 4 games might not even hold my attention all that long until maybe years down the line. These are certainly games that I am actually interested in. I actually want to play them at some point in the future. These are the games that will stick by me in some capacity. We're not done talking about the Xbox Game Showcase yet, are we? Now, we still got Black Ops 6 to go over. I don't really talk about Call of Duty all that much because, shocker, I actually haven't played a lot of the Call of Duty games that much compared to the average gamer, I guess you could say. When I saw the trailer first, I thought that the game seems kind of neat. It seems pretty neat, but I needed more information before I can make any bold assumptions, before I make any judgment calls if this is a game that I want to play. We did end up getting a deep dive into what Call of Duty will be all about, what Black Ops 6 would consist of. And based on what I've seen, based on the information that they provided for campaign, for multiplayer, for zombies, even if it's a little bit, we do get to see a lot of what this year's Call of Duty would end up being. They emphasized on the fact that Black Ops 6 is basically a return to form to what most people remember, to why most people remember about games between Modern Warfare 1, from Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, all the way up until Black Ops 2. It seems to be a competently made Call of Duty game. It seems to be a game that I would be interested in playing again. It certainly will make my list. It's not high up there compared to the other games that I have seen before, that I have seen in this showcase, but I will keep it in the back of my mind. And that was the entirety of the Xbox Games Showcase, or a majority of the games of the show. I haven't even talked about other games such as Indiana Jones and the Great Circle being a game that strongly carries the spirit of the original trilogy, Wuchang Fallen Feathers, an action game that strongly resembles Sekiro and Wo Long, but impresses with its visuals, and plenty of other games that are small in scale, updates to existing games, or games to series that haven't had one in over a decade. I've been a fan of Xbox for as long as I can remember. With that said, I've been critical of their business and creative decisions in the past, even today. However, I could say with the utmost confidence that this is truly the best Xbox showcase they've ever had in a long time. And admittedly, I did feel weird about it. There's a chance that this might have been influenced by being at the fan event I participated in. I wanted to see what other people thought about the show. The ones who didn't have the same circumstances as me. The ones who were more critical of the Xbox brand.
There has never, I don't think, ever been a game show that has ever been better than this. I think that maybe there's been a show that was as good at this, but I don't even remember that. This Xbox Games Showcase completely blew everything out of the water. It was 1,000 times better than the PlayStation 1.
We have to give Xbox credit. That is arguably Xbox's best show in at least half a decade. At least. It's like a 9 out of 10. Not everything is what I personally wanted, but dude, like seeing all of these games like finally showing up in some way was pretty nuts.
I thought the Xbox Showcase was really, really, really strong.
I think that this is not only one of the best showcases Xbox has ever put on, I think it's one of the best gaming showcases ever done.
I think this showcase was very well-rounded. Thought it was very paced well. I thought the production was great.
That was one hell of a showcase. That is a 10 out of a 10. That will go down as one of the best gaming showcases of all time.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets. This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
I think it's a 10 out of 10 as well. I think it's a masterpiece. I think could have gone for more hard release dates, but 2024 is good enough. This is a showcase that feels on par with an E3.
I've been covering Xbox for a long time. A lot of you have been watching me and us on covering Xbox for a long time. That was the greatest Xbox showcase they've ever done.
It was fire.
The crowd agrees.
And from what I can tell, other people are in agreement that this really was a great showcase and something Xbox needed in comparison to other showcases happening at the time, such as Summer Games Fest and the PlayStation State of Play. The Xbox Game Showcase had the better lineup of games that will come out in the next 2 years. And while the Nintendo Direct has games that tugs at the heartstrings for several communities, some more personal than others, the Xbox Showcase had variety and promise unlike anything before. But that's not what's important now. What matters most to me now is whether or not Xbox can deliver on the promises. We've had games in the past 5 years where they had great trailers with great promise, only to release in a state that's only good at best and unacceptable at worst. Thanks to the second win in the form of the Xbox Game Showcase, they have another go at gaining consumer trust. They have the tools, the games, and the hype. Now's the time to deliver. Weird, this feels like I've had this conversation before. But what are you looking forward to from the showcase? Do you like what you see? Are there any games that you're actively excited for? Let me know down below. And until then, take care, guys.